Welcome to Asynchronous Sprints in a Part-Time Fully Remote Team. I'm Amanda Nevius, the Deputy Director of Recovery Partners of Vermont. We are a 501c3 nonprofit with the mission to support our member recovery organizations so that they can be world-class establishments empowering all Vermonters and their families in recovery from alcohol or other substance use disorders. We are a very small team. We have 3 part-time staff, myself included, and 1 full-time executive director. She moved to full-time in January of 2025. I personally work 25 hours a week, which is the most of any of our part-time staff. And we're also fully remote. We do not have a physical office, just a P.O. box. We usually see each other only once a year at our annual conference. So we're a small team with limited hours, fully remote, and a lot of mission critical work. And this map shows you where our members are located across the state of Vermont. So you can see our work covers the whole state. So why Scrum? So last year, I ran our annual October conference without Scrum. Even though the conference itself was successful, the planning and execution were stressful, messy, and overwhelming. I knew we needed a better way to do things. We had a donor who gave us funds for professional development, and I started looking for a way I could do the conference better. And that's when I found Agile and nonprofits. I loved what it had to say about managing projects, and so I joined the March 2025 Scrum Master cohort. And what I learned there was exactly what we needed. For example, I realized I had already accidentally created a backlog, one of the first Agile concepts we went over in class. I had written down every task for the conference back in January in one place, which my team immediately loved because it made the work that we were all doing separately more visible. From there, I created a Kanban board after seeing it introduced in the class. I did this in Google Docs for the conference. And very quickly, I thought, if this is helping the conference, why not just use it for everything our team does? I talked to my executive director, and she became our product owner, and we decided to apply Scrum team-wide. Of course, because we are the way our team is built, 3 part-timers, all fully remote, we couldn't do Scrum exactly by the book with the hours we had available and how we work together. So the way I approached it was first I looked at what we already had in place that we could just shift into Scrum methods. So we already had a monthly team meeting, which is the second Wednesday of every month. And so I shifted that to be the retrospective review and sprint planning all at once. We ultimately increased it from 60 minutes to 90 minutes. That was one of our Kaizens a couple of months ago. This way, we didn't add any meetings to our team. It's really hard because we all kind of set our own hours to find a time that works for everybody. So we just stuck with the one we already had, and we just worked on making it more effective. Because we're the second Wednesday of the month, sometimes our sprints are 4 weeks and sometimes they're 5 weeks, which I know technically is 1 week longer than a sprint is supposed to be, but we went with it because it's what works for our team. And as you can see here, our Kanban board is a simple Google Doc because our team is already good at using Google Docs, categorized by work areas, like right here at the very top. We have it at the top because it's what we're doing a lot right now, is our conference. But then we have other categories like member support and engagement and grants. And to make the board fun and team owned, I had the team go ahead and pick their own name. And since we're all women, they chose Lady Brains. And we all love ducks, so we put a picture of runner ducks on the top of our board, and we all get a color. So each team member has a color, and as you can see, each task has the team member's name after it. Some of them are co-owned. It just doesn't happen to be any in this little screenshot that you can see, but we'll put whoever's names are there, and then we can quickly scan the board and see what we're responsible for. So because we're part-time, a daily scrum was super unrealistic for us. So instead, I decided to send out a weekly email check-in with 3 questions. Now, this doesn't sound very often, but before we were doing this, we were only checking in with each other once a month at those Zoom team meetings. So this was already more time checking in with each other. So I went with these 3 questions in a once-a-week email. What have you worked on this past week that you're most pleased about? What do you plan to pick up or focus on next week, and any impediments? Everyone replies asynchronously whenever they happen to work next after the email comes. So even if we're not aligned online together in that moment, we're still staying aligned. So some weeks everyone replies within a few hours. Some weeks, the day that I send the email, someone's not working and they don't reply until the next day. Recently, our executive director was out for a week and she didn't actually reply until she got back, but she really liked being able to see what everyone did. This has been really transformational for our culture. We have started sharing impediments with each other when they come up instead of it taking up a lot of our monthly team meeting to talk about problems. We're like addressing them as soon as they arise. And it lets us problem solve together right away. Recently, we decided for a Kaizen to shift the second question from what do you plan to pick up or focus on in the next week to do you have any feedback, insights, or suggestions to make this week? Because we're working on becoming more and more of a team culture where we're all working together and we want everyone to be able to make suggestions as they think of them. So during that monthly meeting, we do a sprint temperature check. So I really liked this idea that came up in the class. I thought it was a great way to track something that's important to you long term, and something that we're really invested in is avoiding burnout. So what I thought we should track was busyness. And something else that makes busyness important for tracking is because we all work different hours a week. Our least number of hours a week is 12, and then our max is 40. It's a little bit hard to know if we're asking too much of somebody because everyone's hours are different. So it can help us to get this temperature check in. So what I ask every monthly meeting is on a scale of 1 to 5, how busy did you feel? So 1 is too little, 3 is just right, and 5 is I had to work over my allotted hours, or I wasn't able to get everything done within my allotted hours. So some people are able to work over their number of hours, and some people are not, and so that makes it adaptable for those two different sorts of people. And our target, as you can see on this chart, is between 3 and 3.5. And this gives us real data to talk about workload and burnout risk. So you can see when we started Scrum, we were really high and we were skewing higher. And at the end of this sprint, I spoke with the team about how how this wasn't good and there were ways we could address this as a team. This is when I started really talking with people about uh, using buffers and what interrupts are, because I didn't want to introduce everything all at once. I kind of gave them the idea of what they were, but this is when I started really talking with people about how to use them, and you can see that brought our score back down. And we also saw how our vacations correlated with lower temps. So this sprint, 2 of us had a couple of vacation days, and that really helped get our temps lower. And that has helped our team shift our discussions about vacations to being, everyone needs to take some time off every once in a while, encouraging people to do that more often. Here you can see how we've been tracking our interrupts and buffers over time. So this top line is our interrupts. uh, this orange line is our planned number of buffers, and the red line is our completed buffers. So this is that same sprint where we had the really bad burnout number. And you can see that people were still completing the buffers in spite of interrupts happening. And you can also see as a nonprofit that we get a lot of interrupts. There's a lot of unexpected things that come up, especially with what's going on right now for nonprofits. So we had to start really working on planning more buffers in order to deal with those interrupts. And our culture is shifting over time. And I really like this chart because you can see how our monthly meetings where we talk about this are impacting how we deal with these things and how we're doing better over time. If we weren't using Scrum, this would have just kept escalating. We would have kept trying to do more and with the same amount of hours, and it wouldn't have worked, and everyone would have burnt out. So our successes. So some of our biggest wins so far in using this strategy is visibility. So it used to kind of feel like, because we all literally live in different towns and work from home offices, that we were all kind of working in our own little silos, except for that once a month meeting. But now everyone knows what others are working on. We can see it on the board. We have our email check-in, and I've noticed that email check-in has made us more likely to email each other throughout the week when we have questions come up or what have you. Our monthly meetings, in spite of me saying we increased them by 30 minutes in length, they are also more focused and productive. And part of why we increased them by 30 minutes was our team wanted like 10 to 15 minutes to chit chat with each other because we don't get any cooler like or coffee time with each other. So some of that is just team building chatting. It's not actually doing the work, but like they asked for it. And I think that's really cool that we are starting to get that cohesion remotely. Our culture has been improved, our impediments are shared, ideas are welcomed, and we're building psychological safety for the team. We have greater transparency, not just with each other, but it also gave us greater transparency with our board of directors, our nonprofit board. We used to have to submit monthly reports to them, so we each had to write up what we did each month. And now we have just given them the link to that Google Doc and they can go look at what we did. We don't have to write anything up for them. And there's less stress. All of our team members have reported feeling more excitement about the events we're planning and the things we're working on and less stress about the work. So we're doing and managing more complex things, but with less stress. So my recommendations for other nonprofits that are similar to ours, that are small and remote, and they're considering agile. So start small-ish. Pick one practice that fits into how you're doing things right now, and shift it a little bit. So for me, that was that monthly team meeting. I said, let's shift how we manage this meeting. We already use Google Docs. Let's put what we're doing on this board. And we started there, and we've been gradually adding more agile things as we go. Don't be afraid to adapt and make agile work for your team's context. Like if I was strict and was like, if we want to have a daily, if we want to do Scrum, we have to have a daily Scrum, people would have been really annoyed and it would not have worked for my team. But I read it and I thought about what is the actual value of the daily Scrum. And for my team, that was more regular check-in. And going from once a month to once a week was a big change for us, and it made a big difference. Similarly, we want to have agility over the rules. So agile should be agile. So for example, what I had first learned was when you meet in the retrospective, you should walk the whole board of what you did together. But we didn't really have time to do that. And we all kind of have been keeping an eye on the board throughout the month anyway. So we shifted it and said, everybody share 1 to 3 things you want the whole team to talk about. And that's what we do. Collect and use data because those numbers can help you see patterns and adjust before whatever you are trying to avoid occurs. And remember the agile values. Agile is about people, collaboration, and responding to change. Keep those front and center, and the rest will follow. So in short, Scrum helped our small part-time remote team work smarter, stay connected, and reduce stress while doing complex work. Thank you for letting me share our journey, and I'd be happy to connect to any of you to talk more.